Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about the invisible scripts that are, well, basically running our lives. You know, those hidden instructions that make us react a certain way before we've even had a chance to think about it. So let's just dive right in with this. Have you ever felt like this? Like you're just stuck, caught in a negative thought loop, playing out the same old reactions again and again? It's so frustrating, right? It feels totally automatic, like you're not even the one driving. But here's the thing. Those thoughts, they are not random. Not even a little bit. Think of them more like smoke signals. They're telling you there's a fire burning somewhere deeper down. And that deeper source, that's what we call our core beliefs. Now, in cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, as you'll hear it called, this is a central idea. Core beliefs are, well, they're the blueprint for your mind. They are the fundamental, often unspoken rules that you hold about yourself, about other people, and about the world in general. They're the things you believe are absolutely true, like I am a failure or I'm unlovable. And that blueprint colors absolutely everything. These individual beliefs, they don't just float around on their own. They tend to clump together. They organize themselves into these bigger, much more powerful patterns that psychologists call schemas. You can kind of think of a schema as a recurring and often self-defeating theme song that started playing super early in your life and has just been on repeat ever since. I love this description from psychologist Christine Podesky. She says a schema is like a prejudice that you hold against yourself. Wow. Just let that sink in for a second. It means you've already made up your mind about how you are or how a situation is before you've even had a chance to look at the facts. It shapes your reality before the evidence ever gets a word in. Okay, so how does something like this even get built in the first place? To really see it in action, let's get practical. We're going to look at a real-world case study from some clinical research, the story of a woman we'll call Anna. So here's a quick look at Anna's formative years. When she's only 14, her mother is diagnosed with cancer, and just bam, Anna is suddenly responsible for the entire household. A couple years later, her younger brother starts acting out, which just piles on more stress. So through all this, what's the lesson she's learning? She learns that she gets approval, that she gets love by being super capable, super conscientious, and always, always taking care of everyone else first. And I'm sure you can see where this is going. All those experiences, all that pressure, it forged these incredibly powerful and totally unconscious schemas. The first one, self-sacrifice, a deep belief that I have to meet everyone else's needs, even if it means ignoring my own. Then comes the high standard schema, this constant nagging need to be perfect to get that approval and avoid criticism. And finally, a vulnerability to harm schema, a deep-seated fear of getting sick or being rejected, which makes total sense given what she went through. Okay, so here is the million-dollar question. If this stuff is all unconscious, buried so deep we don't even know it's there, how in the world are we supposed to find it? Well, this is where CBT gets really cool, because it gives us a specific tool to do just that. It's a technique called the downward arrow, and it's actually pretty simple but incredibly effective. Here's how it works. You start with one of those automatic negative thoughts that just pops into your head. Let's say, ugh, I totally bombed that presentation. Then you ask yourself, okay, if that's true, what does it mean about me? Maybe your brain says it means I'm incompetent. Okay, getting warmer. Ask again. And if that's true, what's so bad about that? You just keep digging down, layer by layer, until you hit bedrock. And that final, absolute statement you land on, like, I'm a failure, that's the core belief you're looking for. That's the engine driving all the other thoughts. So once you've dragged that core belief out into the light, that's when the really important work can begin. Because just knowing it's there isn't enough. The whole point of CBT is to then challenge that belief and start rewriting the rules. And here's what that can look like in practice. Now, what's crucial to understand is that the goal isn't to just magically erase the old belief. That's not really how our brains work. Instead, it's about building a new, more balanced, more adaptive belief to live right alongside the old one. So you might work on moving from I am a failure to something more like I'm human and I'm capable of both successes and mistakes. You're consciously crafting a new, more flexible rule to live by. And CBT gives you a whole toolkit of practical strategies to help you do this. Things like positive data logs, where you literally become a detective, hunting for and writing down real-world evidence every day that contradicts your old belief. Or behavioral experiments, where you decide to act as if the new belief is already true for a day, just to see what happens. See, these aren't just mental exercises. You're actually out in the world gathering new data to support your new blueprint. So when you put all of this together, you can see that changing these deep-seated beliefs is not a passive process at all. It's about actively building and then actually living a completely new story for your life. And I really want to land this point. This whole process isn't about erasing your past or pretending that old blueprint doesn't exist. The real power comes from understanding how that blueprint was drawn in the first place. Because once you get that, that's when you can pick up the pencil yourself and consciously start drawing a new one, a better one, day by day. Because, just gaining awareness of your core beliefs is the first and maybe the most powerful step you can possibly take. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. What invisible rule, what hidden blueprint is writing your story?